And in the center circle is Lindsay Stevens, number 10 for Sioux Valley. Cyclones are in sort of a hunter green with white lettering. Cossacks with the home jerseys are white with blue numbers. Cossacks with the ball right away. Cassie Rodden passes off to the top of the key to number 12, Carly Granum. Number 23, Rachel Miller, with the ball to number 12. Tries to drive as Sioux Valley is going into a motion offense, moving the ball around quite a bit. Pass underneath and a three-point shot by number 10. Lindsay Stevens is good for three. Sioux Valley jumps right into a full court press. Man-to-man looks like. Abby Bratland brings the ball across the center line and passes off to Charity Cobway. Cobway dribbles to the top of the key. Looks for some help over on the right wing. Passes the ball to Schneider. Schneider passes it down low to Rodden. Rodden with the left-hand layup misses. Rebound by Mike and Vincent. Sioux Valley is on the run and turn the ball over. Cyclone ball. Janae Colton bringing the ball up the court. Still a full court press. Passed over to the corner for the Cyclones. Rebound by Olivia Sash. She puts it back up, scores two. Score is 3-2 with 6 minutes left to go in the first quarter here in Sioux Valley. Cassie Rodden brings the ball down the court, goes right into the center and lays it up for two. That makes the score 5-2, the Cossacks lead. Taylor Hartley has the ball. She's bringing it down the court. Over on the right wing. It's a bad pass back to Cobway. Granum steals it and scores the layup for two. Sioux Valley again sets up in a man-to-man press. Cobway with the ball. Guarded closely by Granum. Gets the ball off to Hartley. Hartley passes the ball to Colden. Colden goes in hard to the hoop and is fouled. The foul goes with the push, I believe, on Mike and Vincent. That's her first foul. That's a shooting foul. So Colden will get a chance to earn some buckets. This is the first half. And she misses her first one. Gets another chance. A little low five from her teammate, Sass. And the second half of this is good. That makes the score 7-3. Cossacks lead, bringing the ball up the court, over in the corner, and at the top of the key is Mike and Vincent. Shoots for three, but she's misses. Rebound by Stevens. Granum at the top of the key. And Sioux Valley goes into the motion again. Rodden decides she wants to pull up and start it over again. Dishes the ball off to Miller. Miller over to Vincent. Vincent for three. She misses, but it's rebounded by Miller. And they get a new shot clock. Granum has the ball. She's driving. Passes it off to Vincent. Vincent drives through. Passes it off to Rodden. Rodden to Stevens. Stevens to Vincent. Vincent puts up a layup. In and out. Rebounded by Sass. Sass gets it over to Colden. Colden brings the ball across the court. And she's on the right wing. She drives to the hoop. Pulls up for about a 12-foot jump shot, but misses. That's rebounded by Miller. Miller passes it off to Rodden. Rodden down the floor. Long pass to Stevens, who lays it up and in for two. And we have a timeout by Clark Willow Lake. And we'll take a timeout too. We'll be back in a minute. You're listening to Sioux Valley Cossack basketball on B93.7. And welcome back to Sioux Valley in Volga. And it's the end of our timeout. The score is 9-3 with about 4.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Sioux Valley in a full court press. Stevens guarding Colden closely. Oh, and we have a foul as Colden passed it off to Hartley. Looks like a foul on number 21, Mike and Vincent. I think that's her second foul already. Cyclone ball, they inbound it from the sideline. Hartley has the ball, dribbles around to the top of the key looking for some help. Passes it off to number 22. We don't have her number or her name. She's in. Colden passes the ball. Well, she has the ball. She pulls up for three, and she nails it from the top of the key. 9-6. Sioux Valley still leads. There's a long pass from Sioux Valley down to the end of the court on our left side here. Checking into the game is Perry Litke. Coming out is Mike and Vincent. Perry Litke will inbound the ball. Looks like we have another substitution. The Cyclones substitute in number 32, Callie Fleming. She's in for Olivia Sass. Rodden has the ball. She passes it off to Granum. Granum gets caught down by the baseline. Passes it back off to Lindsay Stevens. Stevens to Miller. Miller looks for some help. Miller passes it up to Rodden, who's at the top of the key, looks to reset the offense. Miller has the ball at the free throw line. That is stolen away by Fleming. Fleming passes the ball off to Colden. Colden brings the ball down the court. Cyclone ball. Colden passes the ball to Hartley. Hartley at the top of the key, looking for help. Passes it off to the other aforementioned unknown player. And she loses the ball out of bounds. Sioux Valley ball. Rodden bringing the ball up the court, passes it off to Granum. Granum to Litke. Litke over into the corner to Granum, and she stepped out of bounds. Cyclone ball. Well, the game's kind of back and forth so far. Still 9-6, about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Bringing the ball down the court for the Cyclones is Callie Fleming, a senior. She passes it off to Hartley. Hartley at the top of the key. Back to Fleming. Fleming dribbling around, passes it down low. And good. And that was actually Colden to Fleming. Fleming scores the layup. Sioux Valley brings the ball down the court quickly. Pass to Miller, and Miller was looking for Lindsay Stevens underneath, but passed over her head, and that ball went out of bounds. So Sioux Valley still in the press. Bringing the ball up the court is Hartley. Hartley guarded closely by Cassie Rodden. Rodden playing some tough D. With the ball now is number 33, Jane Colden. Colden shoots a long jumper for two. And that, just like that, Clark Willow Lake takes the lead. It's 9-2. Sioux Valley tries to get the ball down low to Perry Litke, but Clark Willow Lake steals that one. And Janae Colden with another long jump shot scores two, and Clark Willow Lake is up 12-9. We'll keep it right here. There's a timeout by Sioux Valley with 30-second timeout. The score again, Clark Willow Lake 12 leading Lady Cossacks by 3, so it's 12-9. Made some mistakes early on, had some Clark Willow Lake players playing for Sioux Valley and Sioux Valley players playing for Clark, so I'm sorry about that. Trying to get the confusion all straightened out here. And we don't have a full roster for the Cyclones on their program. They've got about 10 players who have numbers and another 5 that don't, so we apologize for not giving you full names of people that are out there on the court right now. But we'll do our best to keep on moving. It's Sioux Valley ball. Sioux Valley's bringing the ball up the court. Cassie Rodden dribbles down to the top of the key. She passes over to Miller. Miller passes it underneath to Stevens. Stevens back to Miller, who shoots for three, but she missed it just off the rim. And the Cyclones rebound the ball up the court to number 33, Janae Colden. Colden for three, but she misses it. It was in and out. Rebound by Lidke. Lidke gets it off to Rodden. Rodden down the court quickly to Carly Grantham, who shoots a three and ties the ball game up with a minute to go in the first quarter. It was in and out and around and down. She used the whole rim on that one, but it still works. Shooter's roll, shooter's touch that happened there. Cyclones have the ball. Taylor Hartley looking for some help. Passes the ball off to 22, who dribbles it off her foot. Ball on the ground. Looks like we have a jump ball. Possession arrow stays with Clark Willow Lake. Checking in for number 22 is number 4, Charity Cobway. As the Cyclones inbound the ball with some movement underneath, gets the ball to Callie Fleming. Rebounded. There was a long three try by Cobway. Rebounded by Rodden. Rodden over to Vincent. Vincent shoots another three, and she drills it from the right wing. And that gives the Cossacks the lead. It's 15-12 with 37 seconds to go in the first quarter. Cobway dribbling around, tries to go into the basket, but she's fouled. Looks like by Rachel Miller on the arm. That's not a shooting foul, so the Cyclones will bring the ball in from underneath the basket. Some motion underneath the basket, looking for someone to pass it to. Pass to number 33, Janae Colden, who went up for the shot, but she was fouled. She was fouled by Lindsay Stevens on the arm. That's a shooting foul, so she'll get a chance at 2 from the charity stripe. And she makes her first one. Makes the score 15-13. Cossacks lead. Mike and Vincent comes back into the game, checks in for Perry Lidke. Janae Colden gets the second half over 2-point charity stripe, and she makes that too. Bringing the ball up the court, Cassie Rodden. Rodden down to Vincent. Vincent to back to Rodden, and they're setting up the offense. Looks like they're looking for the last shot. 15-14, 17 seconds to go. Rodden passes it in to Stevens. Stevens is fouled from behind by Cobway. That's her first foul of the game. Miller will inbounds the ball. Pass it off to Vincent. Vincent lobs it in to Stevens. Stevens back out to Rodden. Rodden for three, and she makes it. 18-14, Cossacks lead. We've got a back and forth game here. Sioux Valley on the press. There'll be no shot taken, and that's the end of the first period. It's 18-14, Sioux Valley leads. We'll be back in a minute with more basketball from Volga. You're listening to Sioux Valley Basketball on B93.7. And we're back to Volga. We're going to start off our second quarter. It'll be Sioux Valley ball. Bringing the ball in is Rachel Miller. She passes it off to number 21, Mike and Vincent, who scores a three-pointer. That makes it 21-14. Sioux Valley. Cobway brings the ball up the court for the Cyclones. Going off to her left, she passes it off to Taylor Hartley, who shoots three, but she misses it. On the rebound, looks like we have a foul on Hartley. So that'll make it Sioux Valley basketball. Bringing the ball up the court, Cassie Rodden, the senior, gets up to the top of the key and passes it off to the left wing to Mike and Vincent. Vincent looks, gets the ball to Stevens. Stevens over to Rodden. Underneath is Vincent. Vincent with the left-hand layup underneath the basket, scores an easy two. Makes it 23-14, Sioux Valley. Cobway brings the ball up the court, passes it off to Bratlin. Bratlin at the top of the key, back to Cobway, who looks for three but decides it's better against it. Passes the ball to Hartley. Hartley to Bratlin at the top of the key again, dribbling off to her right, gets the ball back to Hartley. Underneath to number 23, and she scores a layup for Clark Willow Lake. The Sioux Valley running, gets the ball back and down. Cobway on the arm, knocks the ball out of bounds as she went for a steal, as Sioux Valley just got the ball up the court in a hurry. That's Cobway's second foul. Into the game now is Janae Colden. So it's Colden, Sass, Cobway, number 23, and Bratlin in for the Cyclones. And in for Sioux Valley is Rodden, Miller, Stevens. Stevens under the basket for a layup, and she makes it. All that motion, and Sioux Valley scores again. Cobway bringing the ball down the court, pulls up her dribble, looks for some help, gets it back to Colden. Colden to Cobway. Cobway's on the left wing, almost on the left baseline, gets it back up to the left wing, looking for help, gets it to Bratlin. Bratlin down low to Sass. Sass goes hard to the basket, but she overshoots the rim, and the rebound by Vincent. Vincent to Rodden. Rodden to Stevens underneath. Stevens to Miller. Miller back to Vincent, who shoots three, but missed the mark, and that'll go the other way. Checking into the game, Taylor Hartley. She's in for Olivia Sass. Sioux Valley again keeps up the full court pressure. Seems to be working for him so far. It's a man-to-man press. Bringing the ball up the court is Hartley. Hartley passes the ball to number 23, but she's fouled on the shot. Looks like that might have been on Vincent. And we'll see what happens here. That indeed is a foul on the arm on Vincent. Into the game is Perry Litke. Well, she will be. She's just going to wait a minute. So number 23 for Clark Willow Lake shoots her first half of two shots that she gets for the foul, but she misses that one. And now into the game is Perry Litke in for Vincent, who has three fouls. Number 23 will make her shoot her second, and she misses that one too. Moving the ball up the court in a hurry. Again, Rodden. Rodden to Granum. Granum back to Rodden, but that's picked off by Janae Colden. And Colden gets that down to Hartley, and Hartley tries to make a pass up the middle, but that's stolen by Rodden. Rodden passes the ball over to Miller, who takes three, but misses that. Little scrum underneath the basket, and we have a foul. Looks like that foul is going to go on Perry Litke. And that is a foul on her. That's her first foul in this contest. Cobway checks out. In then is number 22, And number 32, Callie Fleming, checks in for the Cyclones too. Full court pressure again applied by Sioux Valley. Ball gets in to Janae Colden, who's going to try to bring the ball up the court, but she's guarded closely by Granum. They try to trap, but they get the ball over the 10-second line. Number 23 passes the ball down to Callie Fleming underneath the basket, but that didn't work. And the ball is stolen by Lindsay Stevens, who goes up, shoots for the layup, but didn't quite make it. That was rebounded by Hartley, and Hartley tried to get the ball to Colden, but Colden had just come from out of bounds. And so you can't do that in basketball. She needs to be fully in the court of play before you can receive the ball. So that makes it Sioux Valley basketball underneath their own basket. Rodden will inbounds. And she looks like she threw that away. She tried to get the ball to Granum, but she threw it out of bounds. That'll be Cyclone basketball. The score is 25, Sioux Valley to 16, Clark Willow Lake. We've got about 4:45 to go in this second quarter in our contest. Bringing the ball up the court is Taylor Hartley. She's guarded closely by Rodden. Hartley and Rodden. Hartley passes it off to Colden. Colden drives into the lane and shoots about a 10-footer for two. Bringing the ball, pushing the ball up the court is Rodden. Rodden tries to get that ball to Stevens, but it was tipped away by Stevens, out of bounds. Cyclones ball. It's 25-18. 4 minutes and 19 seconds to go. Inbounding the ball is Taylor Hartley. Hartley gets it to number 22. Back to Hartley. Hartley guarded by Rodden. Full court pressure still applied. Sioux Valley not afraid. Oh, they go into a trap. And the trap works. As Hartley tried to get the ball to Colden, Colden went over and back. Perry Lidke passes the ball in then to Rodden. Rodden dribbles down into the top of the key. Gets the ball to Granum. Granum tries for three, and that's in and out of the rim, but rebounded by Rodden. Rodden over to Stevens. Stevens drives into the lane, passes it off to Miller. Miller does her own drive into the lane, and she is fouled as she tries to take the shot from about 5 feet out. She got fouled by Callie Fleming, the senior for Clark Willow Lake. And she's going to try to shoot for two. Sometimes they say that this is the easiest shot in basketball, but by golly, it's hard. From 15 feet straight on, she misses her first one. And she gets her second go from the free throw line. Rachel Miller is at the line, lines it up. Shoots a high arcing shot, and off the front of the rim, rebounded by Bratlin. Bratlin bringing the ball up the court, guarded closely by Stevens. Bratlin at the top of the key. Gets the ball over to the left wing to Colden. Colden over to Hartley. Hartley drives. Is stopped by Rodden. As the action moves, number 2 for 3, Abby Bratlin. Shot one off the backboard and got her own rebound. Drives down to the middle of the lane and lays it up for 2. Sioux Valley pushes the ball down the court so fast. But as Stevens caught the ball down on the baseline, she tried to throw that back to Granum, and she threw it out of bounds. Cyclones ball. Janae Colden is bringing the ball up the court for the Cyclones. She's guarded closely by Stevens. Gets it down to the right wing to number 22, who carried the ball. And that's a turnover. It'll be Sioux Valley ball. The score at the moment is 25-20 with 2:54 to go in the second quarter, or period as you will, whichever one you want to call it. Bringing the ball up the court is Cassie Rodden. Rodden to Carly Granum. Looked at the three, but changed her mind. Dribbled around. Passed the ball underneath the hoop to Rachel Miller, who had a layup, and she just overshot the mark a little bit. Cyclones ball. Cyclones bringing the ball down the court. Hartley drove into the lane and she missed a layup, but it looks like she got fouled by Perry Litke. And that'll be a shooting foul. She'll get her chance at 2 free throws. Shoots her first one in and out, is no good. So the game has slowed down a little bit here with some fouls, but it's a fast-paced game up and down the court. Both teams are unafraid to push the pace a little bit and see how it goes. She makes her second free throw. Rodden sets the ball down the court to Granum. Granum shoots 3, and she misses it over the hoop. That's rebounded by Holden, who tries to get it up the court in a hurry to Abby Bratland, but she overthrows her. That's Sioux Valley basketball. Into the game for Clark Willow Lake is Charity Cobway. She's in for Abby Bratland, who will take a breather. Bringing the ball up the court, Cassie Rodden for the Cossacks. She gets to about the top of the key and looks like they're setting up their offense. Granum for 3 from way downtown. Off the rim. Went for the rebound, and looks like we might have a push from behind by Perry Litke. That's a push by Perry Litke, and into the game now is number 33, Abby Schneider for Litke. That's Litke's 3rd foul of the game so far. So a little foul trouble here for the Cossacks, but they still maintain their lead with 2 minutes to go. It's 25 Cossacks to 21 Cyclones. Shooting the foul will be number 22 for Clark Willow Lake. She makes the first half of the 1-and-1. That's the 8th team foul for Sioux Valley. And she'll shoot her second half. And she makes that one too. Rodden bringing the ball up the court. No press from Clark Willow Lake. Setting up the offense. And she's going to decide to take it herself. She tries to pass it to Schneider, but that's picked off by number 22. Brings the ball up the court. She passes that off to Cobway. Looked like she dribbled out of bounds, lost the ball. Cossack ball. Schneider will inbounds the ball to Cassie Rodden. Rodden bringing the ball up the court, gets across the half-court line, gets to the top of the key and dishes off to Lindsay Stevens. Stevens to Rodden. Rodden drives down into the lane, that passes that off to Granum. Granum puts up a 12-foot jump shot off the glass and in, and she is fouled, so she gets the hoop and the harm. Charity Cobway hit her on the arm. That's Cobway's 3rd foul too. In is Abby Bratland. So Granum gets 3 the hard way. So that makes it 28-23. Cossacks over the Cyclones. Bringing the ball up the court is Colden. Colden looking for some help. She passes it off to Bratland. Bratland gets to the top of the key to the free throw line. She passes it off to Hartley, who shoots for 3 but misses it. Rebound by Schneider. Schneider Rodden pushes the ball up the court quickly. She passes it off to Stevens. Stevens up and in. Quick fast break. Quick easy point. 1 minute to go. We've got 30-23. Your score. Sioux Valley leads the Clark Willow Lake Cyclones. Janae Colden decided to pull up for 3 and she missed it. Rebounded by Schneider. Pushed up the court by Rodden. Rodden to Stevens. Stevens to Rodden. Back to Stevens, who's on the right wing. Looks like they want to slow it down a little bit, so Rodden dribbles up, gets some instructions from the coach. And she dribbles down all the way to the baseline on the right side to Granum. Granum back to Rodden. Rodden to Miller. Miller over to Rodden. Rodden for 3. Off the front of the rim, but she's fouled. And she'll get a chance to shoot 3. At least I think it was a 3-pointer. That follows on Janae Colden. That is her first foul of the contest. So at the stripe, Cassie Rodden makes her first one. We got about 20 seconds to go in the first half here at Volga. Rodden shoots their second, misses that one. She gets another one. Into the game for Clark Willow Lake is number 12. Again, we don't have all of the names to match the numbers for the folks here at Clark Willow Lake, so we apologize for that. Rodden shoots, and she makes 2 out of 3 from the free throw line. Abby Bradlin brings the ball up the court. She pushes it up the court, passes to number 12 real quick, who gets the layup, and she's fouled. No, what do we have? She traveled before she shot the ball. And coaches are unhappy with that from the Clark Willow Lake side, but that's not how the ref saw it, so that's what we're going to go with. Looks like a little bit of pressure being applied from Clark Willow Lake, who doesn't want the Cossacks to get an easy basket. We've got about 5 seconds to go. That didn't work for him, as Rodden found Miller underneath the hoop, and as she makes that, she's fouled. Foul goes on Callie Fleming underneath the basket. Couple of substitutions in is Rylan Willis for Stevens. I guess that's our only one. So Miller will get a chance to get her own three-pointer, old-fashioned. She missed it. But Rylan Willis just checked into the game, got a foul. She pushed from the back. As the rebound was up, she fouled Callie Fleming. The senior will get a chance at a 1-and-1 with 2.7 seconds to go. It's 34 Sioux Valley, 23 Clark Willow Lake. Callie Fleming will get her chance. First half of 1-and-1, the shot is up, and it's good. So she'll get another one. Another chance at shortening that lead. It's a 10-point lead right now for Sioux Valley. She lines up the shot and shoots it. In and out. Rebounded by Miller. Miller to Rodden. Rodden tries to throw up a three-quarter length shot, but she misses, and that's the end of the first half. Your score is 34 Sioux Valley Cossacks, 24 Clark Willow Lake Cyclones. And so in this back and forth contest, it's pretty fast-paced, up and down the court by both teams. Neither one really relenting at taking time on the full court press by Sioux Valley, and Clark Willow Lake is trying to match the tempo of Sioux Valley, but it doesn't seem, it seems to be working out pretty well for them as they're only down by 10. The game, I think, is closer than that as we are watching. So we'll be back in 2 minutes as we are at halftime here. Again, the score 34 Sioux Valley over Clark Willow Lake, 24 points. Again, we'll be back. We'll take a 2-minute break. You're listening to Sioux Valley Catholic Basketball on B93.7. Welcome back to Sioux Valley in Volga. Right now they're handing out what looks like a free throw shooting contest for today, different age groups that they had going on earlier today. So this is a big day here in Sioux Valley. They got the doubleheader basketball game going on today. JV had played right before our girls game today. And so they're handing out awards. They get some nice plaques, looks like. And their name announced. They get to be out at half court, which is a nice thing for the youngsters. But back to our game. Again, it's been a back and forth contest. Tightly contested, and I don't think the score really tells you how close this game really is. 34-24 as Sioux Valley is ahead. Sioux Valley applying the full court press during the game, trying to keep up a really, really fast pace. And they do. They throw the ball around, trying to get as much motion as they can into this game. And Clark Willow Lake seems to be a little bit more deliberate after they break the press, try to get the ball down low to either Sass or Fleming. And it seems to be working for them. They've gotten some easy buckets. And now out on the court, we've got some little guys. Looks like it's you pay some money and you get a chance at a shot. Maybe it's a half and half type of thing. But again, our score is 34-24. We've got about 5 minutes left before we come back, so we're going to go ahead and take a 3-minute break before we come back to the action here at Sioux Valley. So once again, we're going to take a 3-minute break, and we'll be back with more basketball from Sioux Valley Cossacks. You're listening to Sioux Valley Cossack Basketball on B93.7. Set to go in our second half here. It'll be green ball. It'll be Clark Willow Lake ball. Abby Bratlin is going to try and inbounds the ball, but it's a full court press again. Colden is double teamed, but she gets the ball back to Bratlin. Bratlin dribbles between her legs, gets the ball, working it down as far as she can. Passes it off to number 22, who is in the game. That's my bad for what we had missed. And as Hartley dribbles out from the baseline, she is bumped by Granum, and it's called a foul. Gave her a push from behind. So Hartley inbounds the ball to number 22. Number 22 dribbles to her left side, passes it off to Fleming, who decides better of it and gets the ball back out to the top of the key to Colden. Colden dribbles to her left side. A running jumper from the free throw line, and she makes that. So your score now is 34-26. Sioux Valley leads. Rodden bringing the ball down the court. She is followed closely by number 22. Passes the ball off to Granum. Granum takes a shot. And she misses, but that's rebounded by Miller. It's jump ball, so it'll be a Sioux Valley ball. Underneath the basket is Cassie Rodden. Looks for motion. Tells her teammates what to do. Gets the ball over to Stevens. Stevens back to Rodden. Rodden out to Vincent, who shoots for three, but misses that to the right. And that's rebounded by Fleming for the Cyclones, but she's fouled by Stevens on the arm as they both went for the rebound. Stevens is called for the foul. Which leads Sioux Valley to set up in their full court press again. Hartley inbounding the ball. She gets the ball to Colden. Colden will be guarded by Rodden. Colden passes the ball over to number 22, who looks like she traveled. She did. She was going to pass the ball, and then she thought about it, faked it, and then took an extra step. So that's a turnover. Rodden will bring the ball up the court. She's guarded by number 22. Number 22 applying some pressure from Clark Willow Lake, which we haven't seen yet today. Stevens has the ball. She gets it down to Granum. Granum underneath the basket with a nice left-handed layup for two. 36-26, 6:24 to go, third quarter. Number 22 for Clark Willow Lake bringing the ball up the court. She's guarded closely by Granum. She passes the ball off to Hartley. Hartley back to Colden at the top of the key. She moves over to the right wing. Picked by Bratlin. Colden shoots a three, but that goes hard off of the rim and out of bounds. Good hustle from Fleming, who tried to rebound that. Went down to the floor to try to save it, but didn't quite get there. More full court pressure applied by number 22 from Clark Willow Lake. Rodden handles it nicely. Gets the ball to the top of the key, and she passes that off to Miller. Miller over to Vincent. Vincent for three, and she nails it. Makes the score 39-26. Sioux Valley leads. Full court press applied by Rodden. Rodden on Hartley. Hartley gets over to the left wing, passes that off to Colden. Colden back to Hartley. Hartley dribbles down to the left, shoots up three, but doesn't quite make it. Rebounded by Fleming, who gets a shot off, but she misses. And it's off Sioux Valley. So the Cyclones will get the ball underneath their own basket, as that's brought in by Abby Bratlin. Bratlin passes that ball into Janae Colden, who pulls up at the free throw line, and she drains that. Rodden passing the ball over to Vincent. Vincent went off her right hand and off the referee, which makes that go out of bounds. So that'll be Cyclone ball. Back into the game for Clark Willow Lake is number 44, Olivia Sass. The sophomore. Bringing the ball up the court is number 22, who's guarded by Carly Granum. Number 22 passes that ball over to Hartley on the right baseline, who gets the ball down into Janae Colden for the easy layup for two. Makes the score 39-30, Sioux Valley. Rodden bringing the ball up the court, guarded closely by number 22. She gets that off to Vincent. Vincent over to Granum. Granum back to Vincent. Over to Miller. They swing the ball over to the right side, and they decide to set something back up again. So Rodden dribbles up to the top of the key, drives to her right, gets the ball to Vincent, who shoots a layup from about 5 feet out. That makes the score 41-30. Sioux Valley. Number 22 has the ball. Again, we don't have her name, but we have her number, so we're just going to call it as we go. Number 2, Abby Bratlin, gets the ball from number 22, and that's rebounded by Granum. Granum bringing the ball up the court, gets the ball down to Stevens. Stevens over to Vincent. Vincent for three off the right side of the rim, rebounded by Sass. Sass gets the ball to number 22, who brings the ball up the court. Looks like we have a timeout from Clark Willow Lake. So our score with 3 minutes and 42 seconds to go in the third period is 41-30. We'll be back in a minute. You're listening to Sioux Valley Cossack Basketball on B93.7. Clark Willow Lake scored quickly. That was by Sass as they inbounds the ball. Looks like they had a play set up and it worked for them. So the score is now 41-32. Sioux Valley over Clark Willow Lake. Sioux Valley brings the ball up the court and gets knocked out of bounds by Clark Willow Lake. Rodden passes the ball to Stevens. Stevens to Granum. Back to Stevens, who shot a layup, but she missed it. Rebounded by Miller. Miller to Granum, who shoots for three, but she misses it. That's rebounded by Rodden. And Rodden decides to set things up again. She's guarded closely by Cobway. Pass to Miller. Miller tries to get it down low to Granum, but Colden saw that coming and she stole the ball. She dribbles it all the way down the floor. Gets that off to Abby Bratlin, who shoots, drives, and shoots for two. But she pulled up short, but she was fouled. She was fouled by Rachel Miller. And she'll get a chance at 2 points. This is the first of her 2 tries, and she makes that one. Again, a fast-paced basketball game. Both teams running up and down the court with no volition whatsoever. And she makes her second free throw. Rodden gets the ball down the court quickly to Stevens. Stevens to Vincent down low. Vincent to Miller. And Rachel Miller puts that basket in. Took about a 12-foot jump shot. Makes the score 43-34. Sioux Valley. Abby Bratlin brings the ball down the court. She passes that off to Morgan Burke, who's just checked into the game. Burke to Cobway. Cobway drives to her left into the lane, puts up a running left-handed shot, and she makes it. And she's fouled by Granum. So she'll get her chance at the old-fashioned three-point play. Lines up her shot and gets the shooter's touch. Has around and in as Sioux Valley tries to inbounds the ball. Cobway picked that off, but she turned it over. She tries to pass that around. Rodden brings the ball up the court. Sees some room, passes it off to Miller. Miller gets it out to Granum. Granum to Rodden. Setting up the offense, Rodden gets some instructions from her coach. She gets that over to Vincent. Vincent back to Miller. Miller over to Rodden. She's on the right wing. Looked like she had Lindsay Stevens down low, but decided better. Vincent comes out, gets the ball, passes it to Granum. Granum tries to get it inside to Vincent. And Vincent, the ball is stolen by Sass, and Vincent tries to get it back, but grab number 44, Olivia Sass, on the arm and gets called for the foul. That's her 4th foul in the contest, so she's checking out. In for her is Perry Lipke, the sophomore. Cobway brings the ball up the court. Dribbling around, she picks up her dribble at the top of the key, passes that ball off to Colden. Colden dribbles to her left, tries to shoot about an 18-footer, and she missed it short. Tried to get her own rebound, but she was boxed out nicely by Lindsay Stevens, and she pushed her from the back and gets called for the foul. Sioux Valley bringing the ball up the court. This is Cassie Rodden, guarded by Cobway. Gets to the top of the key, passes it off to Granum for a long three, and she makes it from about 4 feet behind the three-point line, and she just drilled that nothing but net as that went in. It's now 46-37. Sioux Valley leads. Cobway had the ball on the left wing, tried to make a move, and she traveled. Turns the ball over, Sioux Valley ball. Perry Lidke passes the ball into Rodden. Rodden brings the ball up the court, guarded closely by Cobway again. Lidke thought about setting a screen, but now we have some motion. Passing the ball around to Rodden. Rodden to Granum. Granum drives. Gets the ball back to Rodden. Rodden for three, and she makes it. Got a little bit of a run here going on for Sioux Valley. Making some nice outside shots, applying some full court pressure, man-to-man. Abby Bratlin brings the ball down the court. She passes that off to Janae Colden. Colden to Cobway. Cowboy at the top of the key, over to the left wing to Abby Bratland. Bratland over to Hartley. Hartley drives into the lane, kicks it out to Cowboy, who shoots for three, and she makes her own three from the right wing. 49-40, Sioux Valley leads Clark Willow Lake. We've got 15 seconds to go in this third quarter. Rodden has the ball at about the top of the key. Looks like we're going for the last shot here. We've got 5 seconds to go. Miller with a nice pass down to Stevens, who is all alone underneath the basket, and she scores the layup. Gives the Cossacks an 11-point lead, so it's now 51-40 going into our fourth quarter. Sioux Valley Cossacks lead the Clark Willow Lake Cyclones by 11. You're listening to, we'll take a 1-minute break. You're listening to Sioux Valley basketball on B93.7. And we're back here at the Cossack Center for our fourth quarter. We've got 8 minutes of basketball to go as the girls' teams are the first of our doubleheader. It's 51-40. Sioux Valley Cossacks lead the Clark Willow Lake Cyclones. Cowboy, Clark Willow Lake ball, so Cowboy passes the ball off to Hartley. Looks like we've got a hard press coming from Sioux Valley. And Hartley was double teamed, and she threw the ball away. Perry Lidke will bring the ball in. Clark Willow Lake looking to apply their own pressure. Carly Granum will bring the ball up the floor. She's guarded closely by Abby Bratland. She gets the ball down to Miller. Miller to Rodden. And the ball is knocked away by Cowboy. Sioux Valley ball. Sioux Valley will inbounds the ball from underneath their own hoop. Rodden will be the inbounds person. She passes the ball off to Stevens on the inbounds play, and she gets a nice 5-foot shot off the glass for two. 53-40 with 7 minutes to go, 7:20 to go. Clark Willow Lake with the ball. Handling the ball, Abby Bratland. She passes it off to Sass. Sass back out to Hartley. Hartley over to Colden. Colden to Hartley. Hartley with a jab step, drives a little bit, puts up a little 10-foot floater. She misses it, but fouls Rodden on the rebound. On the arm is the call. That's Taylor Hartley's second foul of the game. Rodden bringing the ball up the court. Gets it over to Miller. Miller to Lidke. Lidke back to Rodden. Rodden to Stevens, who had to go out and get the ball a little bit. And we'll set it back up. Rodden at the top of the key, passes it to Granum, who at about the same spot as she made one earlier, 4 feet beyond. Missed that one just off the rim, just a little short. They get a new clock, and Rodden will set it up. Dribbles the ball, passes it off to Stevens. Stevens back to Rodden. Comes over to the coach, gets some instructions. Passes it back over to Stevens. Stevens to Granum. Granum to Rodden. Back to Stevens, who drives into the lane. Steps back. Takes about a 15-footer from the right wing and drains it for two. It's 55-40. Sioux Valley has pulled ahead by 15. Colden bringing the ball up the court at the top of the key. She gets the ball over to Cobway. Cobway over to Hartley. Hartley tries to get the ball down into Sass, but that's knocked away by Lidke and out of bounds. It'll stay on Clark Willow Lake side. Passing the ball inbounds will be Abby Bratland for Clark Willow Lake. She gets that to Cobway. Cobway gets that over to Colden at the top of the key. Colden thinks about pulling up for three, but changed her mind. Gets the ball over to Bratland, who dribbles around to the free throw line. Passes to Cobway. Cobway gets the ball to number 23, who passes that ball back out to Colden, who shoots a three of her own, but she misses. Gets the ball to Abby Bratland. Bratland on the left wing. Takes a shot. She misses it, and it's rebounded by Hartley, who tries to put her own shot up, but she's fouled. So she'll get a chance at two shots. She was fouled by Cassie Rodden. That's Cassie's first foul of the contest. So lining up her free throw is Hartley, who makes the first one. Makes the score 55-41. Sioux Valley leads Clark Willow Lake. In the first half of our doubleheader here today, she shoots another one, and she makes it 55-42. Drodden brings the ball up the court, passes the ball off to Miller, who gets it down to Stevens underneath the hoop, who shoots a layup but was a little short. And Clark Willow Lake rebounds the ball, but that's knocked away out of bounds by Stevens. And they inbounds the ball, so they get the ball and are bringing it back up. Clark Willow Lake has it. Colden passes the ball over to Hartley. Hartley on the right wing gets it back to Colden. Colden on the right wing from about 10 feet out, drives into the lane from the baseline and nails a nice little jump shot. Brodden with the ball. She's at about the top of the key. 25 seconds to go on the shot clock. Passes it off to Rachel Miller. Miller to Granum, who shoots three off the top of the hoop. Rebounded by number 23 for Clark Willow Lake. And Clark Willow Lake gets the ball down the floor. Colden passes the ball to number 3, who lays it up for an easy basket. It's 55-46. And Sioux Valley decides they want a little timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds. We'll take a timeout too. Again, we'll take a 30-second break. Actually, we'll take a 1-minute break. 1 minute. We'll be back to basketball here at Sioux Valley Cossack Center. You're listening to Sioux Valley Basketball on B93.7. Opening contest of our doubleheader between Sioux Valley and Clark Willow Lake. Sioux Valley has the basketball, passed the ball down into Stevens in the lane. She gets the ball back out to Vincent, who has checked in for three. It bounces around on the rim and goes in. Shooter's touch out of Vincent there. Clark Willow Lake brings the ball down the court. Cobway has the ball. They get that down to number 23, who's on Vincent, and she can't do much to defend as she's got 4 fouls, and she scores an easy layup. Rodden brings the ball down the court all the way down to the baseline. Passes that off to Miller, who tries to lay it up, but she's fouled. Looks like she's fouled by number 23, who is one of those people from Clark Willow Lake who we don't have the name for. Her name isn't in the program. in the lineup. So we apologize for that, but we will do our best and keep going on as we continue on in this contest. Rachel Miller gets her chance in the front half of 2 shots. She misses the first one and will get a chance at another one. As she lines up the shot, she puts it up and it's in. So that makes the score 59-48, Sioux Valley over Clark Willow Lake. Bringing the ball up the court is Colden. Colden gets up to about the top of the key, passes it off to the left wing to Hartley. Hartley dribbles back to the top of the key, passes it to the right, over to Cobway, back to Colden. Colden to Bratlin. Bratlin dribbles into the lane, takes a little 13-foot jump shot. And Clark Willow Lake wants timeout. So the score is 59-50 with 3.5 minutes to go. We'll keep it right here as we just took a timeout. So they want to talk about it. So we'll say some things about the game. It's become a lot faster-paced game as both teams have applied a full-court press, person-to-person full-court press to speed up the game a little bit. And it's made the scoring go up a little bit too. So Clark Willow Lake has made some nice jump shots from mid-range, a lot of floating jump shots, and Sioux Valley has made some three-pointers that have made this contest a little bit further out than it might seem. Both teams are playing tough, playing strong, with a lot of energy out there. You can tell that they're both ready to run as they're running up and down the court as fast as they can. If it was me, well, it's just not going to be me. We won't do that. Number 23, Rachel Miller, passes it off to Granum. Granum is going to bring the ball up the court. She passes it off to Rodden. Rodden over to Vincent. Vincent drives, passes it off to Stevens. Stevens to Rodden. Rodden sets up the offense. Gets some instructions from the coach. Dribbles over to the left side, passes the ball to Vincent. Vincent to Granum. Granum thought about 3, gets it over to Stevens. Stevens, who's going to drive, and it's to Rodden, who shoots for 3 off the rim. Rebounded by Cobway. Cobway gets the ball up the court. She overthrows Hartley as she tried to push the action a little bit. Just a little bit of an overthrow. And number 22 for Clark Willow Lake will check in. We've got a full court press applied by Clark Willow, by the Cyclones. Person to person. Rodden passes the ball off to Granum. Granum back to Rodden. Rodden drives into the lane. Kicks it out to Stevens. Stevens dribble out to the point. And we're at the top of the key, back with Rodden after some motion. Rodden on the left wing, passes it to Vincent. Vincent passes the ball to Miller. Miller back to Rodden. Vincent underneath a cutting basket. Rodden saw her coming down. And Vincent nails the easy layup. That makes the score 61-50 with 2 minutes to go. Clark Willow Lake ball. Colden has the ball. She dribbles to the top of the key and stops. She passes it off to Cobway, who was cutting. And she missed her layup, but she was fouled. Well, she wasn't fouled. Number 22 was fouled on the rebound. And she tried to put it up, but she was fouled by Rodden, and that's her second foul of the contest. In the game now for number 23 for Clark Willow Lake is Taylor Hartley, the junior. Number 22 lines up her free throw and makes it. It's now 61-51. Sioux Valley leads Clark Willow Lake. We've got about 2 minutes to go. We've got a full court press applied and a timeout called by Sioux Valley. So it's a full timeout, and we'll take a timeout. So we'll be back in 1 minute. You're listening to Sioux Valley basketball on B93.7. And we're back at the Cossack Center with 1:50 to go. Sioux Valley leads by 10. Clark Willow Lake applying a full court press. Granum gets the ball at about the right wing, and she passes that off to Stevens for an easy left-handed layup. 63-51. Bringing the ball up the court for Clark Willow Lake is Janae Colden. Colden at the top of the key. She's double teamed, and she turns the ball over. That ball is to Rodden. Rodden gets the ball up the court in a hurry. Decides to pull up, set up the offense. Looks like Sioux Valley is going into a little bit of a clock control type of offense. Slow the game down a little bit with 1 minute and 6 seconds to go. Rodden passes the ball over to Granum, and Granum is fouled. Stops the clock. Clark Willow Lake has a couple fouls to give yet. That's only their 4th foul of the half. And we got a timeout. Clark Willow Lake. And we'll take a timeout too. So we'll be back in a minute. It's 63-51, the Cossacks lead the Cyclones. Again, we'll be back in a minute. You're listening to Sioux Valley Basketball on B93.7. And we're back here at the Cossack Center in Volga. Sioux Valley has the ball on their own half of the court. Ball gets over to Vincent. Vincent on the right wing. Decides that she passes it back out to Rodden. Again, a little more clock control of an offense. Rodden is fouled by number 22. That's her first foul. And it looks like we're going to have a timeout again by Clark Willow Lake this time. And we'll keep it right here, as this looks like it's going to be a 30-second timeout. Nope, it's a full timeout, but we're still going to keep it here as the coaches go through some instructions, some strategy changing to see what, if anything, Clark Willow Lake can make up this 12-point deficit they have with about a minute to go. Now they're into clock control for Sioux Valley. And it's, again, 63-51. The game's been back and forth, up and down the court, with pressure applied, full court pressure applied by Sioux Valley. So the game has been fast-paced by both teams. That kind of pace takes a wear and tear on a body, as this is only the second game of the season. Actually, this is the first game of the season for Sioux Valley girls. And that's the end of our timeout. It'll be Sioux Valley basketball. Inbounding the ball will be Rachel Miller. As they go through some motion, Miller gets the ball to Rodden. Rodden is dribbling the ball around, and it looks like she passes the ball to Granum. Granum dribbles down to the left wing, passes it off to Miller. Miller back to Granum. Granum to Rodden, but looks like Granum was fouled by Abby Bratlin of Clark Willow Lake. And they're still not in the bonus. We got one more foul, and it'll be in a 1-and-1. There's 42 seconds to go. Rodden has the ball. She passes the ball to Granum, who is fouled by number 22. And I think this will be the free throws now. Yep, number 22 with the push on Granum. So Carly Granum, the senior, will have first half of a 1-and-1. The shot is up, and it's good. Makes the score 64-51 with 40 seconds to go. Carly Granum at the stripe, puts up her second, and she makes that one too. So 65-51. Bringing the ball up the court for Clark Willow Lake is Janae Colden, who gets to the three-point line on the left wing, passes it off to Charity Cobway. Cobway back to Colden. Colden tries to drive, gets caught up in between Stevens and Granum and travels. So to bring the ball in bounds will be Rachel Miller. Miller to Rodden. Rodden dribbles around in the back court, and she's fouled by number 22 on the arm. Looked like number 22 took the brunt of that one, but she was moving and tried to get in the way and fouled Cassie Rodden, the senior. And she'll get a chance at 1-and-1. A couple of substitutions. Ellie Schmidt comes in for Carly Granum. Abby Schneider is in. Alicia Vanderwall is in. And Taylor Young is in. Cassie Rodden will get her chance at 1-and-1. This is the first half of that. And she makes that. Ryan Willis was going to check in for Cassie Rodden, but Cassie is shooting some free throws at the moment. Clark Willow Lake also making some substitutions. In is number 12. We don't have a name for her. Number 5 is Morgan Burke, freshman. Sailor Holstrom will check in too, and Cassie makes that free throw. So the score is 67-51 with 21 seconds to go. Abby Bratlin will inbounds the ball to Sailor Holstrom, and Bratlin will bring the ball up the court. As she gets to the top of the key, she drives to the free throw line, passes the ball to Morgan Burke. Burke to number 22. 22 to Bratlin. Bratlin with the layup. She misses, just shot a little strong. Rebounded by Taylor Young. Taylor tries to get the ball to Ryan Willis, but she turns it over. Morgan Burke got the shot, but she didn't make it off in time, and that's the end of our opening contest. It's Sioux Valley victorious over Clark Willow Lake, 67-51. And we'll be back. We'll take a break too. So as the boys start to warm up in our second game of our doubleheader between Sioux Valley and Clark Willow Lake, we'll take a 3-minute break, and we'll be back to the Cossack Center. You're listening to Sioux Valley Basketball on B90.